What is going on, words? It's your boy Shinji Ryu, and it is time for another Street Fighter Duel content. Okay, and I have another thing to discuss here today, and pretty much just want to just air my thoughts out. And this is because I got inspired the moment I actually got my final piece of the Chaotic Starlight. Okay, and I've been excited about this Chaotic Starlight ever since it was announced first, and it was only available in the top picks, right? And of course, because I wanted to make sure I could max out the character that I did care about. But as you can see right now, if we go over to the bag here, I have two Chaotic Starlight. And why am I pointing this out? It means I've not been eager to use them yet, because obviously I am a bit conflicted as to how I want to use it, and I'm sure you guys have been as well. If you haven't used it already, right? You guys want to figure out what is the best way, what is the best strategy, what is considered the right way to use a chaotic starlight, right? And here's my own opinion here, all right? What I want to say is this: there's absolutely no right way to use a chaotic starlight if you do not know what category you fall under, okay? And these categories that I'm going to mention right now are going to be pretty important and going to be a bit of a guide as to how you can actually decide to use your chaotic starlight, right? The first things first, to actually let things out of the way and eliminate all the stuff, is that we know they're only available to use with master and inferno characters, as well as 1% in wind, right? But not only that, you have to be a special character. So that actually rules the likes of, for example, Bison, Jury, or the other whatever in Inferno, Jan, Rose, and Masters, and of course every other character out there apart from Elena here, right? So you have to be a special character. You have to have this icon here that I just clicked on. This icon here, pretty important for you to actually be able to mix up with this chaotic starlight. All right. Now the other thing is this chaotic starlight. You can mix it up with one another, or you can mix the character with chaotic starlight to push it up. But for you to mix this one with this, you need to probably have chaotic starlight that has already been mixed up together, which I would not ever recommend, because you never know when you might just be stuck on that A fragment of whatever character you care about, and then you want to actually just put it to A plus to make it them mixable, right? So clearing that with regards to what who only qualifies, apologies, as someone that you want to consider for your character starlight, you have to consider these following categories, right? You're going to either be someone who's actually chasing the ladder. You want to be the best of the best when it comes to things like events, things like leadership board and all that kind of stuff. You want to be the one that comes out on top, or at least you want to be competing hard enough amongst the whales, okay? Because let's look at it this way: the whales have options. They can buy them from top picks whenever they pop out on other avenues. The free to play or the less spending, you know, players don't. So the whales are not going to have an issue as to how they want to spend a chaotic starlight. They're going to boost up whoever is lacking, and they're going to get them to the top, and they're going to be ready to boost every other person to the top. So that's just established that, right? So you're going to be one that wants to actually be top of the leaderboard, at least want to be competitive in the leaderboard. You're going to be one that actually wants to make sure that you have the best of the best characters to help you progress through the challenges and the towers as quickly as possible. And then you're going to be a collector. Collector, you just want to have every character at the best possible level that you can actually get them to be. Alright, so we're going to start with easy one to explain, and that is going to be the leaderboard gang, right? Let's look at the Crusade, Guild Crusade, for example. Alright, and if you want to decide and go ahead and figure out who do I want to actually work with regard to this, obviously you want to look at your competitors and decide which one of them is rocking one of those special base characters that is going to require to take them to the top. And of course, they have to be competitive enough, because look at these numbers right now. Shadow Stupendous right there, who's giving everyone a massive lead up front. All right, you can see he's on 276M, and next person is a whole 120 about so less in millions, right? I don't even have 120, so that's one thing that you need to let stick. All right. But here's saying if he is not using any special unit character, then this is not going to be something that's going to be a problem. You're going to decide that maybe this event is not what I care about. Of course, there are several events, and even with the own event that's coming as well, that's going to be another event that you want to be thinking about to decide which way to go, right? So the only way you can now decide this is to figure out how this works is let's go ahead and let's look at him. Is he using a special base character? Oh, there you go. He's using Summer Elena, right? Summer Elena is the one that is the beast there right now. She is not just on triple S, but she also has the garage and everything. Of course, for you to get a garage, you need to get her triple S. I bet the fighting soul is also at a healthy level as well. But the old bottom line is that you can see here that she has Summer Elena. Okay, cool. With Summer Elena, she's pairing with Viper, who is being the major damage dealer. You know, she buffs up Flame Chun-Li and Abel, right? Now we're looking at the next. We're not worried about the EX moves because I know those also add to the influence. But let's look at the next character right now. Sea Viper, Fashion Blanca, M Bison, and Street Poison. No special unit. Okay, so you know that that's not your concern. Look at the third person here. No special unit. Okay, let's look at the fourth. Now we're going lower in numbers. Let's just jump a little bit here. The next person that has a high number is someone with Akuma, right? But if you have, for example, Sea Viper, and this is probably for people that don't have Flame Chun-Li, because some people would have ignored legendary-based characters, because Flame Chun-Li seems to be prominent in most of the team lineup as well. But I believe there is one that actually absolutely had no Flame Chun-Li. Was it the third one? Oh no, not the third one. Well, was it the fourth one? Yeah, so see, Sea Viper, Bison, Fashion Black, and Street Poison. So if you're worried about stats, you're not really going to be worried about Akuma because as far as you're concerned, the person who's using Akuma right now, although let's look at was person number 7? Was it number 8? I know I went down a little bit. Okay, yeah, number 8, right? You can see that the person isn't like pretty much, it's not pretty much high enough for you to be bothered by how far about these points and the stats that you're trying to get done, right? So what you're going to be doing right now is you're going to be saying there's only one person that really matters in this lineup here if it comes to stats, and that's pretty much Summer Elena. That can now maybe be your influence for pushing Summer Elena as high as possible because you want to get her to triple S. All right. So that's what is going to be happening here, and we're going to be going right ahead and be doing this stuff right away. So we're going to go right ahead and now tell you the next category that you want to worry about. Okay. Because I don't think we have much other events here that we can worry about for now in terms of leaderboards. Do we have another? I have no clue, but let's go right in and let's check and see. Going up here to have a look. Yeah, I think that's the only one I can think about right now. Also, when we perhaps have the event start, right? But the next thing we want to think about now is you also want to look at those who actually want to go as high up as possible. Now, when it comes to going as high up as possible, you're looking at the challenges, right? You're not just going to look at the challenges as well. You're also going to look at the oh yeah, you know what? I believe there are more. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at the ladder match for example. Well, this is more or less like battles, right? So this is also something you may want to consider as well to be the best of the best. But this has a lot of numbers. Let's for something that doesn't have as much numbers as the others. Oh, let's go back here. Battle Royale is a little bit, hit or miss with regards to who you think is going to be top. But as you can see here, it also depends on how often you compete in this, whatever. But you're not going to be worried about because the teams can change. There's no consistent team, base or unit here. So you're not going to be too worried about all that stuff. But what you're going to be more or less concerned about, like I said before, is I believe there's one more. There's one more that I think I can think about that has to do with a little board. Well, if it comes to mind, I will pretty much mention that as well. Let's go right ahead and let's check the regular arena. And let's see here. Yeah, I think it's just most of these other battles you can sort of like switch up your team however convenient it is. So it's going to be mostly those sort of like events like I mentioned before. But going to the second one right now, the regular challenge, right? The towers, right? These are things that are going to make you want to start considering the other units that you want to push up. But at the same time, with towers, you're going to need a combination of most of them when it comes to the Master and Inferno characters, right? So this is going to be the major one you're looking at right now. So for me, the team that seems to be making a little bit of headway is this team lineup here. Okay. The true team I actually want to do is I want to incorporate Golkin, but he's still not strong enough, and I need him to be on SS for him to be useful. That's something you have to consider as well. Are they going to be useful enough at the early range when you start adding all this chaotic Starlight, or are you going to need them to be minimum SS or triple S for them to become very effective? Those are other ways to things that you have to consider. But if I want to use them over here right now to progress, there is only one unit in my own case that I'm using here right now, and that is Ivoryu. So even though I have Ivoryu at SS plus 2, triple S plus 2, because he's doing the justice that I require, I can decide I want to just push him all the way to the top because my concern is just to make sure I can progress and not be restricted, right? But then again, because I have a dream team of having Gokin and Akuma there, I might decide to just add it to those guys, and then eventually, when everything does work out, I can now go right ahead and just use on them because I know that I can always switch I want to use my chaotic style like long term on somebody else, right? So those are the ways I can just look at it in the format that I'm checking it out. So not super bothered with regards to my development here, so I can use everything on him, right? So that's another way to decide that. If you have a different character that you're using to progress in your challenges, in your towers, then that character might be the one that you want to give all your chaotic starlight. And if they're maxed out and they're getting the progress that you need, you're not going to be too worried about however you're slowing down other base characters, right? And now we're going to be going right ahead to discuss the third set of characters that you want to really consider when it comes to using your chaotic starlight. Collectors, right? Now those who are collectors are going to have to be concerned with the collab based units because those are the ones that are very, very scarce, right? You have a limited amount of time to collect these units, and after that time is elapsed, that unit is done for good, and you can't actually use the unit anymore. You can. Whoa! I ran out of time. Wow. Okay. So see, that kind of stuff might motivate me to want to push up my Ivrio even more. So those are kind of points I'm talking about here. But like I was going back to what I was trying to say here, the last one of the people that might be concerned about this thing will be those who concern themselves with the collab unit. Me, for example, there's another one that I have right now, which is Gormagala Ken, and I haven't really been concerned with any other one since, because back in the day, there weren't other ways to sort of push them up, and you typically had the chance of having a little amount as possible when you've never pushed up the characters you're currently interested in. If, for example, they had not released the likes of Ivoryu and Akuma prior to, you know, Virgil, because Dante was very questionable. I probably would have just tried my luck with Virgil to as high as I can get him, and then I'll go right ahead and pursue to like Akuma and Avery later. But honestly, I didn't want to put myself with someone that I knew that would be stuck wherever it was. And the only solution was Chaotic Starlight, which I'm not really pleased with. I was hoping they were going to come up with a solution where you would start getting fragments like I've seen in the CN versions, and with the fragments, you can of course complete this one that we have here that is like just liking on its own, right? Because with this one, without it being 60, we can't recruit nothing, and it's just staying there eating space in the bag, right? Unfortunately, that's not the right they've gone to. They've gone Carry Starlight. It's good business, but also it's quite effective because it's quite flexible with whoever you want to use it with. But it also puts you on a spot where you have to start to think hard about who want to use it on, and that's why we're on this video here, right? So as a collector, you might find yourself number one priority is that use it on nobody else, but special collab characters, because collab characters have a limited time for which you can collect them, and whatever you have is what you're going to get. But other characters, over time, you can actually push them up, right? They might take a lot of time, but over time, I push them up. And the reason why I'm actually saying they might take time is as much as it makes absolute sense only focus on collab characters. These other resources, once you have a character that falls in the divination pool that you care about, they become scarce. They actually absolutely do, right? You have to start. I've been trying to stack up this, but every day I also have to get some special summon tickets as well, because that's the only way I can get these other based. Oh, I didn't have to go all the way out. These other based characters out of the pool. Akuma is pretty close. I was actually trying to focus on Goken because I want to get one more to get him to SS. Because I know I need four. I also need about three to get him to SS, right? Because I have one unit here. I need three to get him to SS, so that's less than this. Once I can start putting fighting souls, then I can push Akuma as high as possible. Go back to Goken, and then whatever it is, that's my strategy. I know I've seen other videos where they recommend focus on one person, then push it to the next. But like I said before, those seem more like collection strategies to me than when you actually are trying to focus on just trying to progress as quickly as possible, and you have the team that you want to work with. If you have a team that you want to work with, you have to be strategic with regards to how you want to push them up. Because, for example, Ivory was already viable from A plus, even from A as well, was very extremely viable. Goken is a little bit viable at A plus. Akuma was not viable at all. You need to push him to like SS, if possible, SS plus 3, triple S, in order to get him to be as useful as he can be. So those are the three categories there. I'm going to go through them again. You're going to have to be one of them. First of all, competitive. You want to be on the top of the leaderboards. Secondly, you just want to be able to progress, have nothing stopping you, like the challenges like towers, which is kind of like myself. And thirdly, you want to make sure that you also are a collector. As a term, in the case of being a collector, you might care about collab characters that you know that would come and go. I didn't care about those. As you can see, I have no copies of Virgil, I have no copies of Dante, and it's easy for me to miss out on some of the legendary characters because I can afford to miss out on. The one legendary character that I'm worried about that if it comes legendary, I won't want to miss out on is going to be the Fashion Ryu, and that's why luckily for me, I play on Android, so occasionally you're going to be collecting Google Play points and all that kind of stuff. So once, hopefully, I have enough by the time it's there, right, and I can just use it on that because you can only use it on games pretty much. And why not use it on like a Fashion Review if it does come out? But that's pretty much my thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are doing with your Chaotic Starlight. Have you guys started to use it already? Are you guys as confused as I am as well, and you're sort of like holding on to it? Want to see how whatever is out there before you decide on what you want to do, or are you guys like already made up your mind on the fact that it's only strictly collab units? Anyone that's not collab unit you're not using, and right now, if you're talking about collab units, number one collab unit right now that should be available, if you're free to play, it's definitely going to be Go Magala Can. You may have them at S, you may have them at A plus, you may have them at whatever level is on, but you want to make sure that you invest in everything into the character to push him as high as possible. Now you have to understand how if you're dealing with Gold Magana at this point, you're going to find yourself duping your chaotic starlights in order to be able to match whatever A plus level or S, SS plus level that you need to do and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's pretty much my thoughts on how I see the use of the chaotic starlight. Let me know what you guys think as well. If you think it kind of makes sense at all, if you think no, there is no other thought or use other than collabs, it doesn't matter if you're competitive or not, or even there's the view of being someone who's affectionate to certain character. For example, it might just be an Elena fan, or it might just be an Akuma fan, or an Ivory fan. I just want to make your Ivory as beast as possible without any patience. Because guess what? Even if you tell yourself that, oh, you know what, he's in divination already, and I can afford to wait as long as possible to push it in, you're gonna wait a long time because divination. The moment you have important characters in divination, you're going to be running out of resources as quickly as possible, and they're going to be still. And the quickest way to get them out of diminution to focus on the next character, for in my own case right now, because I need to focus on Bison and get him triple S, he's still on SS plus right now, is to get Ivory done and dusted, right? Or hold off Ivory and then get Akuma triple S, which means it's going to be stuck on SS plus 2, because as you guys remember, is it vampire Jirio what's her name, um she got the dips because of the 50% off stuff. So that's pretty much it from me, guys. Said a lot with my thoughts on it already. Let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure you smash like on the button, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.